Do something with your life. Do something with your life. Do something with your life.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl TJ. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Fat2Fit Finance video. Now, if you've stuck with me this entire time from the very first video that I launched on November 21st up until now, you have gone through this journey where we identified being in debt, what we needed to do to get out of it, to live on a plan, on a budget, and to use the debt snowball tracker I created to get out of debt. So you are now debt free, and I certainly hope that my non-conventional way of handling money has helped you in some way, or at least help you spark a discussion with family and friends that there is a different way to live with money, and it doesn't have to be the normal society's way of dealing with money. So let's look at the old way of thinking, because that's probably how you started before you started watching this channel. And I don't blame you, but it's exactly what we're all taught to believe, that living paycheck to paycheck is the only way to survive, that it is normal to always have a car note, that spending every single dollar you make and having no idea at the end of the year where it went, that's okay. That's pretty normal. We're having to take out student loans because that's the only way possible that you can fund any amount of education after high school, or living in too much house with too much stuff that you can't afford on credit that's extended, and you're drowning every single day, month to month in debt. Or thinking that, people that have wealth and are millionaires got it because, hey, they're all lucky, or they all hit the lottery, or they don't actually take any amount of responsibility in terms of how they spend their money and how they invest. I certainly hope you've gotten away from these very conventional ways of thinking that are dumb, and they don't lead you to win with money. I mean, let's just look at how every American lives. So let's look at the new way of thinking, because of course it's very non-conventional, but it will help you win with money. So the very first thing that you have to know in terms of being very non-conventional is giving every single dollar that you make a purpose, somewhere to go on paper before it's actually spent. That's the only way to really manage your money. Understanding that using a credit card makes you look like a whiny 4-year-old, because if you can't pay cash for it, it means you can't afford it. Understanding that it's not smart to go to college to get an education by taking out loans. That's pretty dumb and ass backwards to say that you're an intelligent person and go to college but then take out loans. And also thinking that you have to have the latest vehicle that is the very newest model, instead of letting someone else pay for that depreciation and you getting a model that's 3 to 5 years old. Also thinking that, maybe financial security over status and symbols that we think really embody prestige isn't what the American dream should be about. So let's review what life may look like for some of your very close family and friends that you're around, because things are going to be a little bit different now that you're weird, so be prepared for it. First, they're all griping about having to pay debt payments every single month, whether it's the credit card, whether it's student loan debt, whether it's having to pay the car note, any amount of debt, they're still having to pay it. But guess what? Remember, you're now debt free because you used my debt snowball tracker to be able to track your debt, apply those extra payments, and get out of it. So now you don't have any debt to gripe about. You're not plagued by that every single month. And so, what are the other conversations that you're having? Well, they probably complain that being able to pay for college for their kids is impossible. It's not going to be able to happen. They're going to have to take out loans. But you know better, because you can take $167 per month and apply that every single month into an education savings account. At that rate, to be honest with you, by the time your kid is 18, if you did this since birth, you will have $126,000 to apply towards your kid's education. If you have 2 kids, go ahead and throw $334 every single month in there, and guess what? You've now doubled that. So now you have $252,000 to apply towards 4 years of school for 2 kids. It's that simple. Retirement is another major life milestone that a lot of people complain about and are stressed out that they won't be able to actually fund it or won't be prepared for it because of everything they have to deal with right now, instead of being able to look ahead and plan for the future. But you don't have to worry about that, because remember, you're now out of debt. So if you take the total snowball value that you had at the very end of paying off all of your debt, which in our demo that I did in last week's video, it's $445. So if we take that $445 snowball and we invest that at 10%, let's just say you start at age 30 and go to age 65 when you're ready to retire, 35 years. And that 35 years, if you average a 10% return, do you know that you would have $1.6 million in your nest egg? And I want you to think of the conventional way of living in retirement, where you live off about 8% of your nest egg. If you lived I don't know, another 30 years until you're 95, that's at least $53,000 a year you get to live off of, and you don't have any debt, and by that time your house will be paid off. So, I mean, hey, that's a pretty nice way to live. It's better than living on Alpo, which is what a lot of people are going to have to do when they have not funded their retirement. Because if you're really going to rely on Social Security and Congress to take care of you, I have really bad news for you. It's probably not going to work out well. Now, if you're doing the two things that I just mentioned, that means you have moved on to baby steps 4 and 5 of Dave Ramsey's plan. Number 4 is you go ahead and fund your retirement. Number 5 is you plan for the kids' college fund. Now, why would you do retirement first? It's guaranteed you're going to retire. It's not guaranteed that your kid's going to go to college or even that they would graduate. You need to secure your retirement first. Now, I want you to think about all of the stress that you see people going through right now. Especially if you're a baby boomer, you're probably concerned that you don't have enough for retirement to comfortably retire at age 65, and vice versa. Your adult children are looking just as recent grads thinking, how am I going to be able to help my parents if they need it as they get older while I'm still deep in debt myself? But these are worries that you don't have to have. You don't have to live this way plagued with this. Instead, you have done the smart thing by getting out of debt early and taking control of your financial future. I mean, this seems to be a smart way to live, right? It's not very conventional, and I understand that people are going to say that you're crazy and you're weird, but they've been saying that probably since I started this channel. So absolutely nothing is new. But it would seem to me that you would want to do everything you could in your power to be able to live a life of freedom that you would want. Now, for next week's video, before we get onto baby step number 6, we're going to go into a little bit of a touchy subject. Hopefully you guys will stick with me through it. Some of you will probably roll your eyes. Some of you will probably stop watching. That's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. But make sure you stick around for next week as we go over a very, very important topic as well, leading into baby step number 6. But I, of course, again, thank you for tuning in to this week's video for Fat2Fit Finance. As always, subscribe, like, comment, share. I will post the link below for the debt snowball tracker that I created and the demo I went through to show you how applying extra payments will help you accelerate your debt payoff time schedule, and the fact that you can visually see it, because being able to see it gives you hope. And once you have hope, there's still that chance that you can go ahead, reach your goal, get out of debt, and live a life of freedom. Thank you.